What up, Nine?
Trapaholics Mixtapes.
As the 9% and word would say, make a better you, a better us.
Give them what they ask for.
Who do you think you are? I'm the word. Boy, I'm the one who put in the work.
When I move, is it a quick rumble? I will never ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.
What up, though? It's the word. You see the title. We about to get into it. But before we get into that, let me get into the chat. My brother Mouthpiece, what it do, what the business is. Shout out to Big Mouthpiece. Come on, brother. Hey, man. Mouthpiece, this beat was made by my boy Mentexo. What up, though? So when you see Mentexo in the chat, holla at him, bro. He a fire engineer, man. He an engineer, man. He do them beats, man. Mentexo, the man. Shout out to Mentexo, too. Bud Files, what up, though? Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you. Hey, yeah, my bad, man. I've been meant to pop on here and I couldn't do it yesterday, but we're here today. We'll talk about the psychology of narcissists, right? Now, if you've been rocking with me for a while, I touch on this subject often, right? But today we're going to talk about the psychology. We're going to try to understand the root of the problem. Stoic, what up, 9? Hold on, he getting the party started, right? Hold on, Stoic. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you.
The key word is consistency, right? Yeah, consistency is hard work. Sometimes you just want to crash out.
Here you go, bro. In my bathrobe, doing the thing. Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to crash out. Sometimes you just want to crash out. The key word is consistency, right?
The key word is consistency, right? That's how you started off. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. Dee. What up, though, Dee? Appreciate you, sir. Yeah, so if you've been rocking with me, I talk about this often. We talked about the different categories or different forms of narcissism, because narcissists, they come in all different shapes and colors, right? Most people just associate narcissists to the grandioso concept of narcissism, right? But there's other forms of narcissism, even covert narcissism. Their tactics are a little different, but the goal is the same, right? So I kind of touched on the psychology of it just by explaining the different forms of narcissism and then looking at the tactics also, right? When you look at the tactics, that also explain a lot of the psychology. But today we're going to talk about the psychology of it. Right, bless up. What up, though? Ragamuffin Vision. Appreciate you. So when we think of narcissists, oftentimes we think of manipulation, people who manipulate people, people who try to dominate people. They use different tactics like gaslighting. Sports chat, what up, my 33 brother? What up, though? Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. You know, the things they do, right? But then when you look at psychopaths and when you look at people who have Machiavellianism, that's another. All three of these, psychopath, sociopath, narcissists, and Machiavellianism, all three of them is diagnosed clinically as mental disorders, right? They clinically diagnose as mental disorders, right? So the reason you want to understand what you're dealing with is because you will deal with each one of these individual personalities differently, right? So you have to, even because they all use a form of manipulation, a dark form of manipulation. Let me say it like that. They use a dark form of manipulation, but the intent is different for all three of them. All three of them. And when you talk about the narcissist, their intent, the reason why they do what they do is to control, right? So if you understand that versus a psychopath or a sociopath, they just want to destroy. So you would deal with someone different if they were trying to control you versus trying to destroy you. And with the Machiavellianism, their intent is to use you. You know, you ever heard that saying, people are a means to an end? This person is just a means. I'm just using this person to get this and then I'm out. You know, that's different from control, dominating. Like when you think of control, you think of like domination. So you look at these in relationships when people date people with narcissistic personality disorder, they're often are being controlled. And that's the whole intent of a narcissist, right? This is how you identify them. They're trying to control you. They want to dominate you. They don't want to destroy you. They want to break you so you easier to control, but they don't want to destroy you, because if they destroy you, then you're gone. That's not their intent. Their intent is to control or to dominate you. You know, Machiavellianism, they just go use you, and when they're done with you, they just walk away. They ain't trying to destroy you. They ain't even really, they trying to control you to get what they want from you, but they ain't trying to dominate you. So you would deal with these people differently. But when you look at the psychology, when you look at the different, you have to look at the tactics, and you have to look at to understand the psychology, why or how to identify control versus someone using you versus dominating. I mean, versus trying to destroy you. You got to look at the psychology, the methods, and understand why they're doing them, because it's levels to all of it. The Machiavellianism, they're more passive, right? They wear more passive. Narcissists, the reason they so dangerous because they can be passive or aggressive. They can be very fucking aggressive, or they can be very passive. You know, that's when we talk about gaslighting. It don't have to be physical. It can be mental. It's go be emotional, right? This is the ways they attack you. They will attack narcissists. They will attack you physically, but they're trying to hurt you more mentally and emotionally, because that's how you control people. It's through thoughts and emotions. Their whole, they like I said, they ain't trying to destroy you. They're trying to control you. They want to dominate you. And usually when you start looking at why people want to dominate other people, is usually because they have no control of self. So they use outside means, meaning controlling other people, to get that internal feeling of control. Right? When people don't have control over themselves, they seek other things that they can control. That's why when you look at a lot of the symptoms that people have, Like narcissists, the main thing they need is validation. Hold on, let me share something with y'all. We'll go to the Mayo Clinic real quick. Go to the Mayo Clinic. My bad, I was supposed to have this pulled up and I didn't. Actually, yesterday I had all my things pulled up. I didn't even pull nothing up. So when you look at some of the symptoms, right? Because remember I told you narcissistic personality disorder is the actual mental illness, right? Is the actual mental illness. So we at the mayoclinic.com. You can go, check it out for yourself. But some of the symptoms, right? These are some of the signs that are shown through narcissistic personality disorder. They have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance and require consistent, excessive admiration. Right? So what they're projecting is a high sense of self-importance. And the reason they do that is because what they're trying to get from it. They need that consistent, they require a consistent, excessive admiration. They constantly need that outside validation. They constantly need it. But what they're projecting is they're over, I don't even want to use that word, but they're hyper sense of self-importance, right? Like they just better than everybody else. They feel they deserve privilege and special treatment. All this shit is seeking outside validation. Expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements. These entitlement, right? Think about when people be feeling entitled. Like, bro, you ain't even did nothing to earn what you asking for. But you feel like you're just supposed to get it. Like you can go out there and be disrespectful to other people and you expect those people to respect you. See, they need the outside to fill them up to make them feel good about themselves. But what they're projecting make achievements and talent seem bigger than they are. We was just talking about this when we was talking about the throat chakra, right? We was hinting on this, making things bigger than what they are to make you feel more important. They need that external validation. They ain't seeking confirmation. Be preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or perfect mate. I ain't even about to say nothing on that one. Believe they are superior to others and can only spend time with or be with understood by equal special people. Now, you run into that. You run into that a lot on this internet, right? People be feeling bigger than what they are because they're getting attention on the internet, but in real life, they don't be shit. In real life, they don't be shit, but when they come on here, they're important. And then when they get exposed, you see like these motherfuckers eating bologna sandwiches all day. Like they special or something. Like, no, bro, you a regular ass person. Be critical of and look down on people they feel are not important. When people go out their way, this is what I shared a concept. Is in one of the narcissist videos where people try to use other people to build themselves up. They try to tear other people down to build themselves up instead of putting the work in and building their own self up. They try to tear other people down. They use other people to elevate themselves. This is all outside shit. And if you look at everything that we talked about so far on this list, right? It all stems around control. To accomplish these things, you need to control. You need to dominate. Because we can see, we can think for ourselves. Only time we really believe something that's not there is when people project it. And that's a form of gaslighting. Like, think about all this shit. Like, these people, like, you special because you breathing, constantly seeking validation, admiration, making the small thing something huge. You have to have control for people to believe that shit, man. You have to have, my bad if anybody popped into the chat. I'm on this other page. My bad. I'm not seeing the chat real quick. Expect special favors and expect other people to do what they want without questioning them. Control. Take advantage of others to get what they want. Control. Have an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. Control. To be envious of others and believe others envy them. That, man, look, we talked about how to spot a narcissist. So we just understanding the psychology. And when you understand the aspect of intent, right? We look for what motivates people to do what they do. Frankie in the building. What up, though, Frankie? Blanco, what up, though? Top 5 alive. Appreciate you, brother. Can you fight narcissism with narcissism? You need a devil to fight a demon. You know what I'm saying? You need a devil to fight a demon, bro. But you got to understand what narcissism is, though. It's not, because we all have narcissistic tendencies. We all do. We all do. We all have tendencies, but what makes it a disorder is the way they diagnose it is they have a process, right? And I'm just trying to simplify it. And out of that process that they use to identify the personality disorder, a person has to hit 5 out of, I think it's 7 or 8 marks, right? They got to hit 5. And the most telltale signs are lack of empathy, right? When people lack empathy. And when it's a continuous behavior without a stimulant. And what I mean by that is when it's nature or natural to a person, when it's innate. You know, when it's a consistent behavior. Because when you say people have narcissistic tendencies, what that often is, it is caused by a stimulant or caused by a circumstance or caused by an event where people will be put into a mold where they be, I don't even want to define it as narcissist, but when they be selfish. Because when you look at a lot of these different symptoms or signs of narcissism, they're all selfish, bro. They all selfish. It's about me, 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 me. And we all get to that point. You know, some things we'd be like, fuck it, it's about me. So we'll be, stuff was, the environment or experience will stimulate a narcissistic tendency. But if that's not a consistent behavior, you cannot be, that you will not be diagnosed as a narcissist. You will not be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder if it don't hit 5 out of, I believe, 8, 5 out of 8 benchmarks, right? And the 2 or really 3 most telltale signs is the lack of empathy. Like when people don't feel bad for doing the shit when they aware, they're aware of what they're doing. They totally aware. So it's not like they doing this shit by mistake. Sometimes people might feel embarrassed and might build themselves up a little bigger than what they are. People do that. People will inflate themselves at times. That's fine. But it's the intent. What's motivating that? Is it an outside stimulant? Am I in a situation where I may feel inferior and I just want to, fluff myself up a little bit? Is that a consistent behavior? Do I feel bad for doing it? When I say lack of empathy, that's like one of the questions they ask. Did you feel bad when you did that? No. When people justify bad behavior, those are narcissists. Well, that's the narcissistic tendency, justifying bad behavior. But when you do that shit with lack of empathy, when you do that shit on a consistent basis, and when you're aware of what you're doing, meaning you intend to do it, like that's your intent. Oh yeah. Riders, what up, sis? Appreciate you. I'm about to drop the link. But the intent is everything, right? The intent is everything. Understanding why a person is doing it. And a lot of times you just sit back and watch. You sit back and watch. People tell their own story. And you can, like, this is how I test a narcissist, right? And y'all, when I say this shit, y'all probably gonna be thinking like, damn, that's why he do that. Like, you ever hear or you be having a conversation with somebody and you tell a story, then they try to one up your story with a similar story. That's more of a covert or passive way to make themselves bigger. They have to they don't like the light being shined on nobody else. Right? They don't like that. They don't like when the light is shined on anyone else. They want to be the star all the time. And that's fine. When people come up with the one-up story. So it's little things you can do. Just sit back and watch how people talk. When they have to be, how Brother Gary always says, it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. When they have to be right, when people will just argue to argue, that's a narcissistic trait. And you can tell they're trying to control the situation. They're kind of control. That's a form of control. Think about it. If the light is on you, right? And I'm constantly trying to keep reasserting the light onto myself. I'm trying to control the situation. And think about some of these tendencies. Just think about doing, like, you ever see people on here, right? Check this out. You ever see people on here? They'll be cutting you off every time you talk, but one time you cut them off is a problem. That's them trying to establish control. That's them trying to like I said, understanding why a person is doing what they're doing, you handle it differently, right? I will handle someone differently trying to control me versus trying to destroy me, right? Say you at work, you got a boss, right? And there's levels to everything. Say you at work and you got a boss, and that boss is trying to control you. It is different. You're gonna handle that different than handling somebody in your personal life trying to control you. Because that person in your personal life, you can just X them out. But this your boss, you have to, if you want this job, you have to deal with them. So you got to kind of learn how to deal with these people. Right? Now, it depends how. Are they passive or are they aggressive? Sometimes you got to put your feet down and show them, like, look, you can't fuck with me. Sometimes you got to do that. It was times I did that at my job, but the passive people, oh no, the best form. I love when the passive people, like the passive ass narcissists, I used to love them because as long as they think they're in control, shit, you can get anything you want out of them. The manipulation end up flipping. They think they're in control. The best way to control somebody is to allow them to think they're in control. That's the best way you can control somebody, especially dealing with a narcissist. Now, passive narcissists, like I said, there's levels to this, huh? There's levels to it. So, like an aggressive narcissist, you can't let them feel like they have control. But somebody passive who just want like a little validation, you could pat them on the back every once in a while and they happy with it. Oh yeah, them people, bro, I used to get days off for shit. And it ain't even really kissing nobody ass, right? It's just being nice to a person. You just be nice to them. Like some narcissists, they just need validation. They need that outside, that external validation, and they feel good about themselves. You pump their little head up and get whatever you want out of them. Get extra days off. Shit, I need some overtime. You mind if I work? Yeah, man, you a great boss. Shit, I got some stuff coming up. I need a little extra money. You mind if I work some overtime? Yeah, I find some. Yeah, man. Yeah, you pat them on their back, make them feel good. Yeah, yeah. But them aggressive ones, you can't do that. Now, you can't do that with the aggressive one. The aggressive ones, you give them a little root, they will take the whole damn thing. They take the whole thing. So it's understanding the levels. And like I said, you can go back to the old videos and check out the different forms of narcissists. And I pointed them out. My bad, I was just trying to pinpoint. But the different tactics they use. Oh yeah. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's like 7 or 8 different forms of narcissism, probably more than that now. They always recategorize shit. But last time I checked, I believe it was like 7 to 8 different forms of narcissism. And even some of those are similar. They got differences in them, but a lot of those are similar. But victimhood will fall under like the covert narcissists. The ones who play the victim all the time. Yeah, that'll fall under like covert narcissism. Yeah, but it's many different forms, bro. But most people just talk about the grandiose, so the loud and proud, the loudest one. Like most alpha males are narcissists, bro. Most alpha males are narcissists. That's why they need a pack. That's why they need people to dominate or to control. Yeah, most alphas are narcissists. My bad, I'm fucking these pretzels up. Yeah, but let me look back through the chat, see if anybody asked some questions. I know Stoic asked this. Did I say what up to sis? What up, riders? I don't know if I said what up. Yeah, but remember the name of the game with narcissists is control. So the way you deal with them, it depends on the person's approach. Like I said, if they're aggressive, then you can't. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion. When you have an aggressive narcissist, and because remember the name of the game is control. If you give them an inch, they go take a mile. So you have to kind of put your foot down, especially like if you in a job, right? If you in a job, I had some aggressive ass nurses, and I just told them like, this is the thing, man. When you're dealing with people with these different personality disorders, usually like when you're dealing with like narcissists, because remember, people can inhabit narcissism and psychopath simultaneously. Like people can have both of these personalities. You know, we talked about the dark triad, people who display all three: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopath slash sociopath. That's the clinical diagnosis. You know, they call it the dark triad. Look it up. I did a video on it. But it's people who embody all three. So you have to identify the intent. That's how you understand who you're dealing with, is understand the intent. And to understand the intent, you just have to observe. You have to observe. You have to see what these people are trying to get out of it. Psychopaths, like narcissists, they lack empathy. The difference is psychopaths, they have no empathy. Narcissists, they don't give other people empathy, but they want empathy. So they understand empathy. They understand it. You just ain't getting it from them. You ain't getting it from them. They only deserve it. That's the difference between sociopath, psychopath, and narcissist. Is so just understanding that, like Stoic said, people playing the victim. Sociopaths don't need outside validation. Sociopath, psychopath, they don't need that. They just want to fuck shit up. They just want to. They just want to destroy. They just be, and they use different forms of manipulation. Sociopath is more passive than the psychopath. So the forms of manipulation they use will be similar to like narcissism. But again, the intent, are they trying to destroy you or are they trying to control you? You can see, I'm trying to explain the difference between, or how you well, you like, man, you've been in relationships where people just wanted to control you. And hopefully you haven't been in relationships when people wanted to destroy you. But I'm pretty sure you had experiences where people was just like, nah, fuck that. I want this person gone. Like I want this person to feel hurt, pain. I want this they was just trying to hurt you. You know, there's a difference because of even a person who's trying to control you, they're hurting you to control you, not to destroy you. They still want you around, but they're hurting you to control you. They ain't hurting you to destroy you. So you might have been in a relationship where people were verbally abusive, right? They were verbally abusive, or even physically abusive to the point where they slap, push, did stuff like that. But like psychopaths, they put you in the hospital, they break bones, they do crazy shit like that. A narcissist, they ain't gonna go that far. They ain't gonna go that far. But they will do enough to make you fearful to the point where they can control you. But verbal abuse is one of the number one tools that a narcissist use. Is verbal abuse. So understanding the intent. Oh yeah. Yeah. Narcissists are very impulsive. That's another. I don't know if they put that, but narcissists are very impulsive. Psychopaths, they think they shit through. They're highly methodical. They know exactly what they want to do and how they want to do see, I don't like the distinction between sociopaths and psychopaths. Like the way they, I like more the old school understanding versus the new age understanding because the way they explain sociopaths now, to me, that's just a form of narcissism. Like sociopaths are created, psychopaths are born. I think that's the best way to define. Sociopaths are created through experiences, through life experiences, and psychopaths, you just got something turned off when you born. It just wasn't never there. Just never had it. You're born without a soul. That's how I like to explain it. Psychopath wasn't born with a soul. What a no.
What a dude.
Chilling. What it do, man?
I'm challenging. I don't listen to you. So, would you consider a narcissist and a hypocrite to be in the same title, in the same category? I'm not knocking on this, John, right?
Well,
What
hypocrite.
is you talking about?
When I think of hypocrites, I think of that's more of a tactic. People use. And I think of like being hypocritical. I just think that's a tactic, but I would associate that to narcissism.
Because I was like, I was reading into it, and I feel like like a person that is considered a hypocrite, I feel as though it falls under the narcissistic behavior, right? Because like I feel as though narcissists exhibit hypocrisy, right? And I don't know
Hmm.
if it's because they believe they're above the rules, or what is it?
They don't take accountability for nothing they do. That I mean, if you even think of like a hypocrite, right? So by definition, we're talking about someone who uh, I don't want to say criticize, but someone who complains or points out something
You're not
that's
wrong.
wrong that they do themselves.
Yeah,
I
because when
think
you
that's
look into both
probably.
of them, they got the same meaning, kind of in a way.
But hypocrisy is more of a act, right? So I would say, hold on, that hypocrisy is more of a action, is more of something someone does. A narcissist is more of the personality.
So that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, like narcissist, because narcissistic personality, it would embody a lot of different action. Like so that they just won't be hypocrites, but they'd be like lack of empathy.
So they both have like this entitlement. So how does entitlement contribute to both narcissist behavior and hypocrisy?
Well, and see, that's another thing. Entitlement is another aspect of narcissism.
Damn, this shit goes so many
That
ways.
that'd be another. So think of narcissism as a bunch of these actions in a ball, right? But the way you determine if they're a narcissist is more of the intent. Why are they being hypocritical? Because people will be hypocritical for different reasons. Some people will be hypocritical because they don't want to look at what they do as wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to look at it as wrong. They might be embarrassed. They might be ashamed of what they do. So they hide that shit, but then they be pointing at, like, when people be bashing gay people, but they be secretly gay. That's hypocritical,
Yeah.
right? I'm just being real.
No, I
just
see it a
being
lot
real.
on social media. I don't see it a lot out here in the community. It's weird, but I see it a lot on social media. I mean, I see a lot of kids. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's hard to get into it, but I get the point.
Dark Lake, what up, my brother?
Hey, how y'all
Oh
doing?
shit! Somebody else.
Chillin'.
The word and rider for life. I haven't seen you guys in a minute.
Dark Lake, blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings,
Um.
bro.
I wanted to hop on here real quick before I go home. Because like the topic of the show word is kind of like reminiscent of what we were speaking about on another show a few months back, I think. And I had actually started to look into narcissistic personality disorders, right? Like the narcissistic personality disorder, because I had been encountering some individuals who had similar traits. But it's kind of like the thing, if you don't research it or study it, you don't really know where it's coming from, right? And from what I researched, like a narcissistic personality disorder, there's like three aspects that revolve around these particular types of individuals. I don't know if you've touched on it already because I just hopped on here. I was listening to like maybe the last 3 minutes of what you were talking about. But the first one is fragile self-esteem. That's the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second one is a need for validation, right? And then the third one is a tendency to exploit others for personal gain. And from my observation, it's like the reason why they exploit others for personal gain is because of the fragile self-esteem part. So they don't feel like they have it inside of them, right? To do whatever they're trying to do, execute whatever goal they're trying to execute, be the kind of person that they want to be, whatever person that is, right? And so, but they want to, they have this thought that they can't do it because they're not enough or whatever the self-esteem issue is. But they want to at least project the optics that they're actually doing that and that they actually are that person who they believe they can't be, right? It's not that they can't be, it's that they believe they can't, right? So what they do is they exploit other people to sort of create some pseudo accomplishment for what their original goal was, right? And at the end of the day, I always think they don't have to do that if they just believe in themselves, right? They don't have to go all around in a circle and try to, manipulate this one and exploit that one to accomplish their goals. It's like they're taking the long way around. And I was getting upset for a while because it seemed like people who do that type of shit just get away with it. That's what it seems like. And I know I'm probably wrong because you know how life works, karma and things come back around, right? But momentarily, for the moment, it just seems like they get away with it. And then on top of that, it seems like the public, there's too many dumbasses in the public to peep the game. like you were just saying earlier just now that, that whole tactic people do, let's bash gay people, but then they're so gun-ho about it, right? That, okay, well, why is this person constantly talking about gay people? One would question, but then there's a lot of people who would never question that. And I don't know if it's an intellect thing. I don't know if it's just people being stupid, not educated right, or don't know how to critically think. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they love the drama of it so much that they don't care. They just like the negativity, right? But that's what you're talking about, like the topic of this show is like the catalyst for a lot of problems in society in general. And when it all comes down to, in my opinion, I'm going around, ended here, but what it all comes down to, in my opinion, is self-esteem. There's a lot of people who think that they can't just go out and do it by being who they are, being themselves. So they need to move upon someone else's expense in order to make believe that they're doing.
Man, you hit the nail right on the head, son.
I'm
And
sorry,
Stone Cold
guys. I know
said
that was
so.
a lot, but this
Nah, bro.
actually has like emotionally affected me in the past. So that's why I'm like, oh, he's talking about this. I
Let
gotta
him,
hop on. You feel me?
I
let
like
him
how he
cook.
broke that down
Hey,
though, for real.
I'll let him cook. Hey, bro, that's what I'm saying, man. Hey, shit. That's why we had these shows like this. So, because I could say it one way, but somebody else will come up and say it another way, and then somebody, you know what I'm saying? So people get the message, they get to understand it. That's the key. You know, it's not about, like Gary said, it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. And the way you just articulated that, my brother, you hit the nail right on the head, because that outside
But
validation.
can I thank you? But can I ask y'all like what y'all opinion of this is? Right? Is there? Do you guys think there's a way to maneuver that? Like, let's just say you know, because when we're growing up, we don't understand these concepts. We just think that person's shitty. You know what I mean? Like we
Right.
don't know what these concepts are. But I'm a little stuck in the rut about everything I just said a little bit too, because I don't believe in really kind of like studying patterns of people, right? So it's kind of like, do you think it's safe or healthy to prescribe like a diagnosis like narcissistic personality disorder on someone who might have just like been shitty that moment? Like they're not exactly a narcissist, but they were um projecting narcissistic attributes in that moment. Like, do you think that we should consider that or just believe in the category, if that makes sense?
I think awareness, that's why I talk about it the way I talk about it. Most people just talk about the tactics or the tendencies of people. But like I was saying, how it's literally a diagnosis. It's clinically diagnosed. So just bringing awareness to the steps that they take, understanding, it's not us diagnosing, but like when I look at people, I look at the consistency of the behavior. Is it consistent? And one of the key factors is the lack of empathy. If people, you can tell when people feel bad about something and when they don't. I can tell. I don't know if everybody else can tell, but like in the moment, even when people do stuff, you can tell when they be like, "Damn, I was fucked up. I did that." And sometimes they might have too much pride to say sorry in that moment, but eventually, some way it might be like come out and say, I was wrong, or they correct the behavior. And then understanding, like, if you observe somebody long enough, you will understand that there's a stimulant involved. Is it when this person get in this particular type of environment, they display these tendencies? When a person is in a certain type of circumstance, do they display these tendencies, or is this just them, or this just what they do? Sometimes,
Yeah.
so is ways to identify, because like you said, I mean, we all have narcissistic tendencies, bro. This is just natural. It's a part of life. And sometimes we go feel selfish. It's like it's about me, and it's for various reasons. Maybe I'm feeling embarrassed right now because um I don't have certain accolades, so I try to fluff myself up. But the intent, why am I doing it? You got to look at that too. That's why I say, like, the intent of a narcissist is control. They need some form of control.
Hey,
That's
I'm
the
so
intent.
sorry, but I'm so sorry. Hold that thought. I just wanted to say this in the chat. Shani wrote in the chat. She said, "Narcissistic people have partners." I meant patterns.
Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah,
and
but
that's both right though. So
yeah, because even like people, for narcissists to be successful, they need people to elevate them. They need people to agree with that shit, bro. That's why I say most alpha male. If you really look at what people, I'm an alpha male. What? Every time you hear somebody say that, just sit back and watch their ass, bro. They gonna need constant validation from people. Constant validation. They need you to fluff them up, bro. They need them people around them, or they won't function higher. They can't do it by themselves, bro. I ain't even got. You said somebody in the chat. Where's my phone at? I put
Oh
that
yeah,
shit
no, I was
down.
just saying. Yeah, Shani was making me laugh. No, you, Shani. Then she just put my bad. No, Shani, you don't have to put my
No,
bad because I think both of those statements are correct. Narcissistic people have partners, and narcissistic people have patterns.
the
So,
That's
pattern.
some
Look,
real shit.
and that's another way to identify it, right? When I was saying the consistent behavior, is this something that they just do? Is this natural to them? Or is this something that is stimulated from a circumstance or um, a scenario that they might be in? So that's how you identify it. Because, like I said, you might have people who back against the wall in life, and like you said, they having a bad time in life, and they displaying these traits. That don't make them narcissists.
mm,
Because look, they might somebody might be fucked up for a whole month and come out of their shit and then be like, damn, my bad. You know, I was an asshole. Them are not narcissists, bro. They got empathy, man. They feel bad for what they did. Those
right.
are narcissists. They feel bad for what they did. But then when you get the people who only feel bad, you ever give somebody a chance and with that chance they do the same goddamn thing to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
Then you give them another chance and they do them narcissists, bro. They don't feel bad. They feel bad for getting caught. Not for, they don't feel bad for what they did. They feel bad for getting caught.
Do you think they could ever develop empathy?
say that
Yeah. I
again.
mean,
I said, I asked him, does he think they could ever develop empathy?
yeah, narcissists are generally created. They don't. I mean, there's no study showing that narcissists were born. So usually the lack of empathy comes because of life experiences. So like even when they have treatments for narcissism. When they diagnose people with narcissistic tendencies, they have a treatment plan for them, and that's one of the treatment plans is to establish the sense of empathy.
Hmm.
And if the treatment doesn't work, I feel that life works. Life can make someone empathetic.
It can. I ain't gonna say it will, but it can. Life
Yeah,
can.
I've heard stories of I used to make fun of homeless people. 5 years later, I was homeless. Oh man, I know how they felt now. You know, it's people
Mm-hmm.
making videos like that.
So let me ask a question. Right, well, let me ask it to all of y'all, right? Do y'all believe that narcissism is increasing in modern society, or has it always existed at the same level?
Oh, this shit always existed. It's people becoming aware, more aware. But no, this always exists. Now is it increasing? That's a horse of a different color. That's a whole horse of a different color. I mean, I think statistics will show is increasing because more people are aware of it now, and it's being diagnosed more. But you got to think about it, man. That's if you just look throughout history and read different, like if you look at Napoleon, right? Napoleon was not a psychopath. Napoleon was a narcissist. Bro.
That's crazy. So, how do y'all believe that narcissism affects the mental health, right, for both the narcissist and those around them? How bad does it affect the people
That shit
around
can
them?
traumatize people, bro. You constantly manipulating and, like I said, you forming hope for. If you look at the symptoms of what narcissists, even what Dark Lake has said, is always is seeking validation from other people, and that can take a toll on the other person. Just the different tactics they use them, and especially like people don't know how uh gaslighting people actually affects them. That shit can traumatize you, man. People go through therapy for dealing with narcissists. I mean, they got groups. On YouTube. They got YouTube groups where people come together and heal from a narcissistic relationship. That shit fucked me up. I'm like, damn.
This whole thing is crazy, and it's crazy you brought up this topic because I had to come ask these questions for my next live because I got to do a part two for my joint, and it
Oh, when
involves
are
a
you
lot of.
when you going live?
I'm not sure when I'm doing it. I'm trying to get a little more research done on basically on one of the titles, one of the topics I'm doing, and it relates a lot with narcissism and hypocrisy. Like I've been speaking a lot on that, the relationships. Like I don't really speak a lot on celebrities, but when I have a lot of videos DM to me, see requesting my opinion, my perspective on certain topics, I bring it out, and what I do is I speak on it, right? But I also bring out what's going on within our communities and try to bring solutions to the table. You see where I'm coming from? So that's why I hopped on this, John, because it's crazy how lately it's been the Remy Ma Papoose shit, and lately the DDG and Haley Bailey Jones. So this right here is a perfect example for this type of topic that I got to bring up.
Well,
I say this when you looking at people though to identify, you have to look at their intent. You have to look at their intent because just like Dark Lake was saying, I think a lot of times people assign a lot of these um they assign narcissism, like they assign it to people who are in moments of life. That this is not really them, it's because more of a circumstance. So
Facts.
it's like when you look at something that's a clinical diagnosis, I just think it's being responsible with following the guidelines of the clinical, the way it's diagnosed clinically. I just think that's being responsible because people put jackets on people that don't fit all the time.
Let me ask you this: Where do you believe that a lot of these celebrity relationships are based on narcissistic behavior, hypocrisy, or a little deeper than that?
I mean, even like when you state hypocrisy, like I said, that's more of a. I wouldn't like even labeling somebody as a hypocrite.
There's a reason I
I,
say it like that because lately they've been calling it. You know, the men have been getting bashed down. The women at the same time, right? So the word, how can I say, narcissistic, right? Toxic, and hypocrite and hypocrisy has been used in the same phrases in the same sentences. That's why I love hopping on your panel because you can break this John down.
yeah, like
See where I'm
even
coming
when
from? Like it's crazy.
yeah, hypocrisy is more of an action, than like when people say, "Oh, you're being a hypocrite." It's still an action, even when they say
Mhm.
you're being a hypocrite. That's what you're doing in the moment. When you think of when I think of hypocrisy, I think everybody got potential to be, and you can be a hypocrite by mistake. Shit, sometimes people don't really know what they're doing. You know.
I think I've been a
Um,
hypocrite plenty of times. I just can't count the times on what you tell me.
yeah. So I mean, I think hypocrite is one of them words used like manipulation. I think it's always more of the intent of why people are doing what they're doing that that describes the character or brings out the nature of a person. Is understanding the intent. So like even people being a hypocrite, shit, I'm pretty sure motherfuckers be hypocritical probably at least 2, 3 times a day. And don't even and ain't even aware of it. I'm just being real. Like shit, you might be like, I want when people talk to me, I want them to respect me. Or
Let me
you
ask
look,
you.
this is one of the most hypocritical things I don't care. I think everyone does, right? This is one of the most hypocritical things. Don't talk behind my back. When people say that shit, when people say don't talk behind my back, I mean, I don't even think it got to be malicious, right?
Yeah.
But if you hear someone was talking about you to somebody else, you want to know what they saying. Like, damn, why you talking behind my back? And whatever they said might not even have been bad. It might just been something they seen that you probably can correct, and they just told it to somebody else. But then we all
Facts.
do shit like that. We state what we see. We
That's
we
some real shit.
state what we observe. So I think people be hypocrites a couple times a day.
Ryder, I think the issue with the celebrity couple thing is the same issue um, that average civilian couples have
Oh, I know
once
that.
once
Yeah.
yeah once connected with social media.
See,
So
it's like that, yeah, with to us, right? Because we're not, how can I say, possessed by the digital, by technology. How can I say it? We're not MK Orchard, all right? Like a lot of people. You see where I'm coming from? Our third eye is
okay,
open, but what is woke to many people? You see where I'm coming from? It's like we know the difference between the celebrities, right? It's just a little bag that that's the difference between us and them. But they go through the same problems. That's the same thing I tell everybody on my lives. You see where I'm coming from? But what we try to bring the solutions to is, what we try to bring to the table is the solutions. Let's get to the root of the problem. How can we solve this in our everyday lives here? What advice can we? Not even advice. How I don't even know how to put it into words no more on some real shit. Because it's like Word says, we're more bringing awareness. Let's talk about it. You see where I'm
well,
coming from?
yeah, well, see, to me though, when I was saying that they suffer the same issue that average civilian couples suffer through with social media, is that the problem to me is this thing called saving face, right?
What's that?
And it used to be a time when a couple broke up or there was a divorce or whatever, and the woman who wanted to save face or the man who wanted to save face would just give their family members and maybe close friends in the neighborhood their side of the story. So maybe the man, he presents himself as the good guy and he was always perfect and she was a bitch. Or she projects, in the inverse, that same message to her family, her friends, that she was an angel and he was an abusive, ain't shit dude, right? It's about saving face. And it's a disingenuous tactic on both sides because there's no way you were always perfect and there's no way she was always perfect.
Facts.
So whatever event led to the breakup, it's both of y'all fault. I don't care what it is,
Mhm.
Oh,
right?
that's it.
There's exceptions, right? Like if you get drugged down, the hallway like Diddy did Cassie,
I'm dead.
there's no excuse for that.
Facts.
That's abuse. But what I'm saying, that's the exception. But what I'm saying is that usually in the average, lifespan of a relationship that begins and then ends, both people were pieces of shit during certain moments of that relationship. It wasn't just the man and it wasn't just the woman, but that thing at the end of it, either one party or both of them attempts to save face. Back in the day, it used to just be condensed to family and close friends. But now, because of the advent of digital media, social media, you
Facts.
get to save face in front of thousands of
Millions
people who
and
you don't even know.
yes.
Yo, that shit
So,
is crazy. Airing your dirty laundry is the worst.
yeah. And then there's a thing called trauma bonding. So, like, you're getting one side of the story, but because it's similar to something you went through, or you have this feeling about the opposite gender, you then indulge in that story with that person, and then you project this main narrative for that entire gender, whether you be a man or a woman. So
That's a
with
fact.
celebrities, it's worse because they're beyond the fame that social media can give a regular person. So when they try to save face, it's just exacerbated. That is the
That's some
main
real shit.
problem with all of this, in my
Oh,
opinion, right?
that's
Yeah.
some real shit. Let me ask y'all a question, right? Is
Hold
men
on,
right?
let
Oh,
me holler Commander real quick.
Frankie.
What up, lady of the nine? Commander, the Minister of the General Defense is in a building. What up, though, nine? What up, though, Frankie Blanco, my
Man, yo,
brother?
salute. Y'all can hear me? Word, Ryder, Dark, what up, man? Salute.
I was
How
doing
you
it, I was
doing?
doing it, but shit.
And
I was trying to
hey,
get the female out of me, like Frankie, baby.
yeah, I was gonna call you Thumper. I said I fucked up. You know what I mean? I was
Oh, wait,
waiting
I
to
gotta
get
stomp
you.
my feet.
Yeah. But yeah, you about to go right into that bag, Doc, where I was coming up here with the trauma bonding, because it's similar to Stockholm syndrome, and it's almost like you become, you let your abuser be the one to break you up, and then and give them the make them feel like they have the power to put you together too, at the same time. It's like you're giving them that, what's it called, that reprivement, that little feeling to not be going through that pain that you go through when it's like a toxic relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
and
we get
that's
stuck
what's
in it. Like I've been in it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what narcissist was. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know what the word was. But some of us are undiagnosed. A lot of us are undiagnosed with a lot of mental disorders, a lot of different things. We all on the spectrum don't even know. The spectrum's so broad. I'm serious. I'm being serious, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. Like it could just be something that you have that's a bad habit, and you don't even know that's on the spectrum of autism. You know what I'm saying?
So that was going to lead to my question.
But
how?
But the NPD, right? There is a disorder too. Like some people,
What's
because
you said NPD?
No, you got me lost, man. Hold on. We talking about
You said
narcissist, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, when being with a narcissist for a long time, what happens is you end up picking up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you end up getting like that, you know what I mean? It's kind of like rubs into you, you know what I mean? Like you kind of shut off, you know what I mean? Like you get cold like they are, you know what I'm saying? Because the narcissists don't have no feelings, no empathy to how you feel. Everything is about gaining off of you. Like they're like your energy anchor, you know what I'm saying? If you don't give in to them, they don't have no control, no power. So they need to gaslight you, right? They need to start an argument. They need to find something they got to make you start a conversation so they could pick something in that conversation that you started with them and find a way to get it back to an argument that, you know what I mean, that's been revolving around in your relationship for a long time. You feel me? Like that's the type of method that a narcissist will use just to keep you in that, that mistrust company. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. So a narcissist could be older or younger in a relationship, but if the narcissist is younger, I mean, then this is crazy. The way he just explained it kind of answer some questions. Wait, where the bull go?
What happened?
That is kind of crazy. But how can you tell when you enter a relationship, right? In the beginning, everything seems Gucci, right? But then later on in a relationship, everything gets toxic because one of the other is a narcissist. You see where I'm coming from?
You got to be engaged. You got to be conscious of it. You got to look for the signs. We're creatures of habit, and there's already studies to show you that the example that word said. You let them. You say something, and if they try to go one up on you, these are red flags to let you know that these people might have they might be a narcissist.
And the reason I say that,
you just look at the consistency of the behavior, and like I said, look at the intent, because like Frankie said, when he was saying, like when he was talking about how they even just get in a conversation just to argue, that's a form of control. That's the whole intent. That's the motivation behind. Like when we talk about the psychology, when we're looking at the root, what motivates people's behavior. What is motivating this behavior? That's how they break the shit down. It's to see what's motivating. And when it comes to narcissism, it's about control. They want control. They don't have internal control, so they need external control. They need to control everything around them because they can't control themselves. Like Dark Lake was saying, a lot of that stems, and all stems from low self-esteem. That's why they need to control things outside of them, because they don't have that validation or that self-esteem within them. So they need that shit outside to put in them, and it shit don't work like that.
So I wasn't wrong when I was. Well, I don't know. Maybe I am because it's still my opinion.
I was reading something. Okay, right. My fault. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, because I was saying I wasn't wrong when I was saying that. I feel as though, like, when it comes to the topic I was on, right? I feel as though Haley became, how can I say, she didn't take heed, right, to the warnings that was given to her. And for her not doing that, she became the red flags. And I don't know if people understand what I mean by that, right? So that leads into what Frankie just broke down and Word was breaking down earlier, along with Dark Lake, right, with the trauma bonding. Like, it's crazy as shit. Like, but could we consider DDG, a narcissist, right? Because it feels like, and it looks like that he didn't like her, he didn't love her, but he was using her to, rise up,
See, that's what I'm saying.
and
Like
he got
when
her
I look
locked
at
up.
DDG, but this is what I'm saying. When I look at DDG, I don't see narcissism. What I see is Machiavellianism. He was
What's that?
using that girl.
Okay,
That's now because the intent looks similar, right? It looks similar, but you got to look at the reason, the motivation. He
so
was
I'm asking the
using
right
that
questions,
girl.
right? I am asking the
Yeah.
right questions to get to the
He,
root of the problem to try to help others. I know I'm
he,
not
he
tripping.
was he was using her. He was manipulating, using her not to control, but to advance, to get something out of it. That's what separates Machiavellianism from narcissism. Because Machiavellianism, the whole motivation or the whole intent is to utilize or to use someone. Narcissists, they want to control you. That's their intent. So they will do similar things and it'll look the same, but it's all about the intent.
So I knew it was something different. That's why I keep asking these questions. I'm like, can I even consider him a narcissist? Like, I know it's a toxic relationship, but I've seen this in my community, in my hood, every day with females. The females will sit here that, they'll try to tame a man, like keep the man by, saying, I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna lie myself. I don't
It's,
know why it's constantly done with women in the
and then
urban community. But and
let me
then
show you something. Let me show you something in that relationship. The difference between a narcissist and from if he was a narcissist, right? All the
yeah,
stuff he putting out online,
yeah.
he will be doing that. He'd be fashioning it in a way to try to control her. He's not doing that.
Mm,
He's using her as. He's still using her. He using her name. He
to
don't want her.
fame.
He want to use her.
And it's crazy how he used the baby to do that too. That
And
is
that's what I'm saying. That's
crazy.
not narcissism. That's Machiavellianism.
There's something else to that. There's another name. Okay, he said Machiavellism, but there's a name for it that we can all understand.
No, that's one of the most untalked about psychological disorders
Real
is
shit, because I
Machiavelli.
don't know it.
Most people associate it with narcissism. Most people, and that's why I say you have to observe and understand the intent, the motivation behind the things, the people's behavior, to actually identify or classify these different um, psychological disorders. You have to. That's the key to identifying it is the motivation, and to
That's
do
a
that,
fact.
you have to observe and see because you use people like being used is being used, but you be used in different ways. Am I using you to control you, or am I using you to benefit from you? Because after her, it's gonna be somebody else. And if you look at man, if you just look at it, he got a pattern. I ain't even been following him for long, and I seen the pattern before all this shit even came out. I seen the fucking pattern. Now.
I don't follow him. I've been looking and researching into him. Like, it's crazy. You don't follow him either unless you hit that follow button on his social media. See the big difference. But
No,
I've been
I was
researching.
just watching the shit. Yeah, just
Yeah, so
watching some
you
of the
just
shit.
researching, you just looking up his videos and shit. That's not following him. Like I tell people,
And I
there's a
wouldn't
big
even look. That
difference.
shit
And
just
you
kept
taught me
popping up.
that because you did a live
Yeah.
3 years ago explaining the difference about researching and following people. You put it down in a way, and I'm saying, I was like, oh, he's making me go down another rabbit hole. Okay, here we go. And I was like, there is a fucking big difference. There's a big difference. And I think you was talking about you broke it down on speaking about leaders and followers and all that shit. It was a conversation
Sandy,
about that. That
Sandy,
shit
what
was
up,
deep.
though? My bad. I didn't even greet Shanny in the chat. Rudy, what up, though? My bad. I'm just looking at the chat again.
Blessings
I've
to
been
everybody.
I've been moving
Blessings
around the
X
house.
Golden Jewels. Blessings. They said
I can't see nobody in your chat.
narcissistic personality disorder and domestic violence are different. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah, yeah. A person could be a narcissist. Like I said, it's different forms of narcissists too. They categorize in different things. You got
But I don't
covert
think the bull
narcissists.
fits in it.
They more passive than aggressive. You have grandioso narcissists. They in the middle of passive and aggressive. They use both tactics. And then I forgot the overt narcissists. Them motherfuckers are violent. They damn near psychopaths. You know, so they got different categories. It's like 7 or 8. I got a video with like 5 of the main ones on. Y'all can go check. Did I put it in the playlist? I don't know. It might be in the playlist. I gotta go. I'm trying to be a full-time content creator. I just ain't got time to
He
do
said out there.
it. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying.
You hear this?
Trying to do better. It's just life, man. Life be life. I was supposed to come on with this last night, but at like 9 o'clock, I had somebody hit me up like, I need a session. So I was like, I can't even go on with a new client. It was a friend of a friend. So I was like, they wanted to, so I had to take them on today. And he paid me up front. So I'm like, I had to get that money.
He said he paid me up. Right. I know
He
that's
paid
right.
me up for 3 months. Prepaid 3 months. So now I got to get that
I
money.
was writing earlier I wrote in the chat, I said, I was reading, it says, children who are encouraged to believe they are extraordinary and always deserve the best, even at the expense of others, may develop NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. You know what I mean? And that's something that it keeps going on. It's like a cycle, right? You know, how many of us was raised in a household, you know what I mean, that was you know what I mean, was abusive or had, you know what I mean, it was mentally or verbally abusive, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And through the years of that, we end up developing trauma bonding. Like we learn how to cope with it and make it become the norm, all the noise becomes regular to us now, you know what I mean? And living life like that at a young age for so long, when you get older, it's not right, you feel me? It's not normal. So it throws you off when you get to a certain age in life. Like, you know what I mean? Things don't start making sense because you're so used to the noise, you get it? You're not used to the peace. You don't know what it feels like to be yourself, you know what I mean? Because you're always under, you're always under somebody else. You're always doing something for somebody else. You're always trying to make somebody else feel good, you know what I mean?
And this, a lot of this is learned behavior. A lot of it is learned behavior. You get indoctrinated or you get conditioned to a certain way of life, and you don't even know if it's right or wrong. It's just your normal, right? Man, that's like, think about, man, look, bro, I grew up in the backwoods and then moved into the hood. So certain shit was just like violence, bro. That shit was normal until I got away from it. And then I'm like, damn, that shit fucked up, bro. Right? But I was already conditioned to it. I was used to motherfuckers getting shot up and shit like that. Like that was normal. I didn't think of it like bad or good. It was just life. But now I'm away from it. I don't even work in a hospital no more. And it's just like, damn, that's fucked up. When I see it now, I'll be like, damn, I never did that before. I was conditioned to that shit, bro. It was like normal.
How time has changed.
Hey, word, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
So yeah, last night, the other night I fell asleep early, man, passed out, right? And I said, let me go check the live, right? I see you and Bob on the live talking to my bro Gary about fucking weekend. What's going on right now, bro? What's going on, really? Listen to me, man. Listen to me.
I fell asleep on that live.
I know game when I see it, nigga. I know game when I see it. That's all I'm saying.
I ain't said that wasn't me, bro.
I was trying to get him. Y'all was trying to get him. I'm like, hold on.
No, I was chilling, bro. I wasn't even. I was chilling bro. I had a migraine. I was chilling, bro.
Okay.
I'm like, I ain't trying to talk about it.
I'm just letting you know, I'm like Columbo out here. Right? I'm just letting you know, I got my little trench coat. You know what I mean? Walking around taking notes.
Reflections of lived and learned.
I think I'm the only one that don't like this new music. The Weeknd is alright, but I don't like his music. I feel as though his voice is kind of like, ugh. It's too hard to listen to all his music.
I am not talking about no Weeknd with you. I am not talking. Nah, if you don't like the Weeknd, you can't talk R&B with me.
You ain't got no win.
I didn't like him. He got some good music. His lyrics are good. I just can't stand his voice.
You're bugging right now. You know,
it's like a lot of people. Listen, I've had a lot of people tell me I can't stand Dej Loaf. I'm like, what's wrong with Dej Loaf? Her voice. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Listen to her lyrics.
Frankie, I don't want to hear you say nothing about the Weeknd. The wife already said Weeknd, so I don't want to hear nothing.
You see where this is where we're going with this. Where this is where I was getting.
No, I'm done. I'm done. Y'all talking about this, bro. I want to talk about narcissism.
That was AI, man.
Wait, who was beefing? Gary. Wait. Come on, man. You just can't spill the tea and not give us the juice.
Oh, they was beefing with each other. Oh, I missed it. Yeah, I gotta go back. Yeah, I got something to watch.
Never read Shawnee's comments.
See, Gary, my brother Gary to the rest. Thank you, Gary. You see how our powers work,
This
Gary?
is my first time
see
here.
Yo, Frankie
Oh,
into
what
the
up?
shits.
Hey,
Frankie into
definitely
the
make sure you hit that notification bell. We get lit, man. I talk about a lot of different things, but I mainly talk about personal development. Anything that's gonna make us better as people. I don't do the trauma bonding. Like I was telling my wife earlier, she was telling me about something. I'm looking like, man, I don't even feel bad for I'm legally blind. I be walking into walls and fall. I don't even feel bad for myself. Fuck, I'm gonna feel bad for somebody else for. Now, if I can help you, I'm gonna help you. If I can't, then I ain't. But I'm not gonna. There's no me feeling bad for people that don't do nothing for nobody. It just don't. So I just don't see the person. I mean, do I feel bad when I see situations? Yeah, I'm human, man. But I ain't about to. That's I don't do trauma bonding. I just know. That, to me, that's just a form of trauma bonding. If instead of me feeling bad, I'm gonna help you out. And if I don't, but I'm not gonna feel it. I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm gonna just do whatever I can to help you. And if I can't help you, I ain't gonna hurt you. And I'm gonna keep it moving. My wife get mad as hell. She was telling me about somebody taking a boat trip trying to dump off some supplies. I don't give a fuck about that shit.
Hey, word. I got a question, word. Your lady,
Yeah.
right? Your lady.
Mhm.
You know, when you get a chance later on, you know, when you get time, you know, you settle down. I just want you to shoot that question out and make her think about it. Don't just say it and rush it out and try to go to bed and turn the lights out. No. Just let it sink in. Let her think of all the hot songs she heard when she was growing up.
No,
Usher.
I wanted you to hear. She already heard the conversation. She said weekend.
You lying. Nah. I
Man,
shot
look,
you
listen
heard
to me.
that was
Look,
AI.
listen to
That
me.
wasn't my wife. That was AI.
Listen,
That was AI.
listen to me, bro. There's a couple things in life my wife will disagree with me on. Just a couple, because she think I'm the smartest person on the planet. I promise you, she does. And that's just how she thinks. So there's very few things that she gonna disagree with me on. And she's saying weekend. She already said the weekend. She was like, I don't know why they think Usher's voice sound good. He a better performer, but the weekend sing better.
Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something, right? You got two players, right? You got one player who knows how to dribble, he knows how to shoot, and he knows how to pass. And you got one player who only knows how to dribble. Who you picking?
It depends what I need.
I need everything. I need a team play. I need all around, all American. That's what I need. I don't want a nigga to
It
stand there with
falls to the need.
Wait,
But
Frankie
see,
just turned into Trump.
a
but
because there's no way in hell.
man,
Listen,
look.
I did
See, this
research.
is what
I
I'm
did
saying.
research. You know how many Grammy or whatever they win? You know how many Usher already got already? You know what? You know what? Weekend is known for having 100 million views and some StreamYard shit or some streaming views. Do you know if Usher had that shit when he was first out? He would have surpassed probably. The nigga's been out for like 30 years, bro. It's impossible you could say that he's got his catalog is better, his voice is better.
Frankie.
I'm sorry,
Right
man.
now, you're displaying narcissistic tendencies, bro. You're trying to make.
I am. I don't go
Right now, I'm
I'll
dead.
say it. I'm gonna say it. I was raised by a narcissist. I drink narcissist coffee every morning.
You're trying to make your opinion better than mine, bro. That's that
Oh yeah,
Grandy also.
that's his
Hey
ass.
yo, been
No, you can't
Mexico.
use that in an argument or debate. Nah, you can't use that in no fucking debate. You bugging.
I'm taking it back to the show now. We talk about.
All right, man.
Can narcissists recognize their own
I just want to let you
hypocrisy,
know
or
I
they
heard you
dismiss
talking to Gary.
criticism as an attack?
You
Wait a minute.
I'm trying to change it up.
you see how I do? You said, man, Texas, what up, bro? My boy, man, Texas, what up, man?
Yo,
You see how I did that? I took it right back to the show.
he said I took it right back to the
Hey,
show.
but you know what? I don't know if my brother Mouthpiece in here, but Frankie, you said something earlier about
Where they
a
got
lot of
down
these
at?
different personalities being undiagnosed. Have you ever heard of PTED?
Sound like the last four letters on the keyboard.
PTSD or P? What you just
No,
say?
PTED, post traumatic embitterment disorder.
Never heard of
It's
that
a
shit.
real thing. You never heard of that? You know what embitterment is?
Embitterment?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got bitter in it, so I don't know.
That's what it is. It's when you ruminate on bitterness.
Oh
And
shit!
anger transform or translate into bitterness. It turns into bitterness. Anger does. Sadness can too. Different lower emotions can turn into bitterness. So you ever see them old people mad at somebody that's been dead for 20 years?
When I was younger, not now.
That's embitterment. It's when you ruminate. Ruminate means hold on to. So when you ruminate on bitterness, something that made you bitter, and that's a psychological I mean that's a psychological disorder that most people didn't even know about.
I think
That's
I
why I
got
be
that.
telling people don't hold on to anger, don't hold on to that shit because it turn into something else after a while. The
Word.
longer you hold on to it, it start
Let me ask you something. Word.
manifesting into something different. Go ahead.
You know how we have like receptors in our brain for pain. You know what I mean?
Pain and
Would they
hurt.
be like? Would they be like a way in our brain where you can turn that off? You know what I mean? Like your arrogance, or your, or you can you know, like your ego, you can kill it instantly. Like you don't, you could have people born with, you know what I mean? Not with that false sense of identity. You know what I mean? Or there was something else I wanted to say with that too. Like, but like you know, you can make the mind be you can make the mind be where all you can take all those things out. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Because they know where it's at. They know the readings and the wavelengths, and they know all that. You know, I'm pretty sure they did so much psychoanalyzing on so many different people and experiments on it. You know what I mean? To find out something. You know, they know the information. They know what to see, and they know when it spikes. They're like, yeah, this nigga he's slow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I
But
mean,
they got
that's
a
what they
way
used
to cut
to.
off you. Like, can they take that out of somebody? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
That's why
people
they
can put
used to do
somebody's ego.
lobotomies back
Yeah,
in the
that's what
day.
that was a lobotomy. That's fucked up. Nigga turn you into a zombie, nigga. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. You want to be cool.
That's what
You gonna be the coolest nigga in the room.
you I like even when we talk about the ego. I think the way you defeat the ego is to understand the ego. I don't think most people understand what the ego is. I think majority of the people don't know what the ego is. People just use it so casually. Like you have to defeat your ego. What aspect are you defeating? The higher or the lower self? Because both of them can be detrimental to you. Like when we talk about the ego, I like to talk about it uh,
Confidence, you know, like
in the sense of comprehension. Like I don't just use the term ego because when you look up, when you research what the ego is, you get understanding. You have it's three parts. It's the ID, which is the instinctive desire. Then you have the ego, and then you have the super ego. So when you say your ego, what part are you talking about?
well, I would
Most
mean,
people just say,
yeah,
my ego.
right. I know what you mean. Now.
So are you talking about the lower form?
I would
Because
say my
that
super
would be the instinctive.
whatever makes me feel better than people and makes me want to think that I got, you know, I'm like
That's
whatever puts me in
that's
that.
your that's your ID. That's your
Okay,
instinctive
okay,
desire.
okay. Yeah, we're
You
going to
see
level.
what I'm saying?
I got you.
So
True. You cooking?
that'd be your instinctive desire. Now is a term. I don't know if y'all ever heard of this. It's called altruistic, right? You ever heard of that?
Altruistic.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Or you ever heard of the martyr syndrome? You
The
know what a
martyr,
martyr is, right?
a martyr. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. I hear
You
something.
know. So that's what altruistic is. That's your super ego. That's when you put people above yourself. So you will see people putting other people above themselves to their own detriment. That's part of your ego too. That can be very harmful, bro. I done seen people lose their life because of that. Putting themselves in fucked up situations, trying to help people who don't deserve it. I
Yeah.
had a friend that saved somebody, and that same person, I mean, my friend ended up passing away, left kids behind and everything, and that person went right back to doing the shit that he saved them from doing. But that's just how he was. He put everybody above himself. He felt like a sacrificial lamb. He couldn't turn the super ego off. couldn't turn that shit off, bro.
I think the mind is so because everything is in the mind before anywhere, right? It all starts in the mind. The diseases and all that, it all starts in the mind, right? Like that shit starts to wear and tear on you once you get it. You know, once they give you the diagnosis, is when you start to really fucking, you know, you start fading. You know what I mean? Dude was just water jet skiing, and then they found out he got some shit. 2 weeks later, he's sitting in the bed. You can see his ribs. Hey, what the fuck you was that, dude? He was in war. But yeah, it's in the mind, you know, man. My belief is that it's like with the placebo effect, right? When they give them niggas those sugar pills with water and half of them the medicine, and the ones that got the sugar pills that believe they had the medicine, it really worked for them. You know what I mean? Like it really cured them, whatever they had, whatever they said it was for. The experiment is proven to work, you know what I'm saying? The mind can be like I think Stoic wrote it, the mind is malleable, you know what I mean? Like you can especially with them, you know, they study the brain, bro. They that's the biggest thing for them because this whole internet shit is on it runs off of what our mind is like, you know what I mean? Our brain, our neural networks and all that, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta watch that live where he broke things
That's
down.
what word got flashing in the back right here, these neural networks. You know, that's your brain right now sending messages to the center fuselage.
Yeah, Shani, I think they really start clinically diagnosing it in like 2018 or 19. When my sister was doing um her dissertation, that's when I learned about it. She did a whole fucking dissertation on it. That shit was crazy. My sister can take a grain of salt and make a fucking beach out of it, bro. That's what I love about it. She'll take the smallest thing and you know, she did a whole dissertation on PTED. That shit fucked me up. I'm like, I didn't even know this was a thing. But I think it was like 2018. I asked her tomorrow. Who has been traumatized in a relationship, but it's not in the DSM-5. No, it's not in the 5. I think it'll be in the 6 though. It should be in the 6. I didn't get the 6. I didn't even get the DSM-5. I got the DSM-4. That's the last one I purchased. But I think the 6 is out now. Yeah, I think the 6 is out now.
Man, you're right. That's why women are the best. Oh shit. That's why women make the best archaeologists because they could bring up old shit.
Make it bigger, yeah.
Yeah, man. What happened? I just want to know what happened with you and Baba. Though. What happened? Can I know or no? Was it serious?
I don't even know, bro.
Was
Man. So much shit happened that night, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because mail came up and then they started talking about stuff I don't even talk about. I'm like, they started talking about stuff that happened on another show. I'm like, man, I'm getting off here, bro. You know, after a while, after 4 or 5 o'clock, I don't know if y'all heard Baba's new his money intro when he donate, but he'd be like, yeah, this internet started attracting crazy people. Like, yeah, I agree with that, bro.
Nah, I've seen people. I've seen certain people. I don't be want to say nothing because you know what I mean. I know how you are. You know you know it's just that's all. You know what I mean. That's part of the whole joint. You know that's territory. But I see a lot of these people in different places, man. They don't be who they be when they be here. You know, like even when I be up here, like coming up here to troll, like because I've seen these people on another panel. I've seen them in another chat. You know what I mean. I've seen like, yeah, nah, this not. You know what I mean. This ain't them.
Yeah,
They
it
be
be the
old.
decorum too.
It be the and you know it's the smart one that play the fool. You know what I mean? So you can see them like they like it's like almost like a wolf in sheep clothing, but they're not really that smart because you know you're just doing it to be mischievous or whatever. You know what I mean? Just to be like a little a troll. I don't know why people take that shit so serious now. Like people are really whole. People like feel like you know what I mean. That's so it's so big now, right? You got 50 Cent trolling. You got all these big celebrities. Everybody's doing it now to a grand. It's on a grand level now. Like Trump is trolling. You know what I mean? Like what the fuck? I don't know where that shit came from, man. That shit became so. You know what I mean? Like there's two sides of the world now. It's the people that you know what I mean. It's the creators and then it's the trolls. You know what I mean? Like and the trolls be winning, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. These trolls be fucking niggas up on this side. These trolls on the dirty sector is crazy, man. They go deep with it. But that's kind of like the misinformation, disinformation campaign. You know what I mean? You bring 5 of them dudes in your room that act like they don't know each other, and they start, you know what I mean? They start playing along with the conversation. They'll have you fucked up. You won't even know they playing you right now. You got 2 dudes talking about, yo, we don't hear you. Your mic's not working. You talking, you know what I mean? We don't hear you. Your mic is in and out. You trying to unplug your shit, make conversation? Like, nah. Shout out, brother Gary, though, man. I'm glad, Gary, we got another W on the belt, baby. Gary, you should have been there, though, for the last one, man. I needed you, man. These dudes was wilding out. I don't know what they was thinking about. I think Word had one of them indica pens, you know, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? I think it was indica. Where what you smoke, the sativa ones, or you hit the indica pen?
No, I ain't fucking my friend. Shit.
The vapes, those vapes you smoke is not, it ain't bud.
I don't do vapes like that.
Oh, you don't smoke vapes either? Oh, you just smoke what, raws?
Yeah. I used to, but no, I ain't fucking vapes.
You don't smoke none anymore. You don't smoke bud none?
Oh no, I fucking raw, but
That's what I mean, yeah. All right, I ain't putting any money by making you say that, right?
okay.
I feel like I had a wire. They told me to come in here. Word. They asked me to say. They tell me to say. I gotta say the word bud.
Yeah, under investigation.
Yeah.
Oh shit, my bad. Oh, why did I tell you that? But yeah, so don't he have a B as a profile? Oh, they talking about but yeah, this dealing. I mean, a lot of times, like I said, it's different levels. Let me show y'all the different forms of narcissism. So I'm
Y'all,
just talking.
I'm gonna
I had
drop down
all
the
this.
word. Salute, Ryder, salute, Gary, everybody chat, Commander, Stoic. Everybody salute, man. I'm gonna drop down back in the chat, man. I got, I mean, long nights.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
I'll be listening. I'm tapped in. I'm talking my shit. But yes,
He gonna go to the chat and be messy.
I don't know. When I'm gonna get all 3 of them up here.
You gonna get all 3 of who? Oh, Commander Gary and wait, Frankie.
Gary, Baba, and Frankie.
Oh, okay. I definitely gotta catch the replay to yesterday's live. That's what they talking about in the chat. I missed that, John. I fell asleep. Gosh.
I wasn't even on yesterday.
That wasn't yesterday, right? That's
The
the night
day
before.
before,
I'm not
yeah, the day
tripping.
before.
I still fell asleep. I've been going to sleep early as shit.
I miss you too, bro. Why you woke up? You ain't go back to sleep, did you? My son don't say I love you. He be like, I miss you.
Where you at, Daddy? Come back to sleep.
Okay, so this is just 3 against 1. They don't want smoke with me. They don't want smoke with me. If it's 3 versus 1, Commander, I'm turning into a narcissist. I'm gonna embody my inner narcissist. So I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I've never seen sexual narcissism. I've never seen that before.
What?
So that's a new one. Sexual narcissism. So that's a new one. So overt narcissism, grandiose self-importance, grandiose narcissism, exaggerating superiority, somatic narcissism, body focus. Okay, so that'll fall into, like, a lot of these fall into the same category. They just it's a different search engine. I usually use Google, but on my laptop it's using, so I don't have it in my history. What I had pulled up already. Where's my cursor at? I can't find my damn cursor. Okay, there we go. It's all white screen. I can't see nothing. So this is Healthy narcissism. Bullshit. Grandioso narcissism. Vulnerable. That's a covert, malignant narcissism. That's this is the one when I said they close to psychopath, sexual narcissism. I've never seen that before. Overly possessive or positive. Derives from self worth that falls into grandioso cerebral. So this is bullshit. Yeah, this is bull. Like, see, some of these sites, I wouldn't even consider that a source. That's bullshit. That's just somebody coming up with their own shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you searching shit, you gotta check the source. And if you don't understand, like if you don't understand the context of what you're researching too, that'll throw you off. Because you'll see some shit that look good and sound good, but it's bullshit. Okay, here we go. I use psychology today for a lot of sources. Vulnerable, communal narcissists. Um, yeah, these are the ones. This is like the passive past narcissist. That's the ones who that they want to be seen as valuable, so they will use manipulation tactics, but it's more passive aggressive than aggressive.
It's easy to deal with narcissism. You don't deal with them. The corporate environment, you gotta play the game. In the real world, you just walk away. Okay, Stoic. Shawnee says Professor Sam
Okay.
King on YouTube. EIs. Wait,
No, that's what I was saying. Like you have to identify what kind of narcissist you're dealing with because sometimes like
oh, it's
yeah, you handle it different. It's in a work environment versus personal. You know, when it's personal, you can just not deal with it. But at work, if you want to keep that job and make the money you're making, you gotta learn how to. I ain't gonna say play the game, but basically
cerebral
cerebral
narcissist.
on YouTube. Yeah, dude. A cerebral narcissist. Hmm. I might have to look that up. Look that person up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to look that person up. Those people are annoying as hell. I'm serious. Like, and people know. Like, I be having conversations with people, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just those type of people are annoying as hell. And like, dude, Sandy, you know where I dealt with that? I used to be an anesthesia assistant in the hospital, and I was around around a lot of dumbass intellectual people, right? This the like most people know things, but they never practice it or put it into practice. So they just try to overload you with all this information to sound smart. So they sound smart, but I think true knowledge comes through experience, which is wisdom. You know, and a person who's wise, they don't talk a lot. Like wise people, I'm the wise people I've been around in life, they don't talk too much. But when they talk is meaningful. It has a lot of substance in it. and I tried to model myself like that. And it's not something; it just comes with wisdom. You just know when to speak and when not to. So, like, person always trying to sound smart and shit, and there's no substance to what they say. They just throwing out a bunch of big words and concepts and shit just to sound smart, but not actually giving you nothing useful to use. Like, man, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no,
That's
he's
how I
funny
be.
right
I'm
now.
I'm for real. That's how I be. That's what be going through my mind. But I don't even say it. I just be like, okay, time to, yeah, time to dip, time to go. I don't, I don't, I don't see how you can gain wisdom without experience because that's like again, like when we talk about the difference between a definition of a word and the meaning of a word. You can know the definition, but you have to experience the meaning. And each word, like I can say love, and we can use the definition to describe love, but the meaning of love will be different for everyone because that's due to experience. So the meaning of words come from the experience of the word, the experience you have with the concept of the word. And that's where wisdom comes through. Wisdom, I, I I don't, I'm not gonna say, well, no, in my opinion, I don't think you can gain wisdom without experience. It just, I don't see how. I don't see how you gain wisdom because that's part of the formula or the makeup of wisdom in general is experience, is knowing something or putting something into practice. That's where wisdom forms. That's how you gain wisdom.
This is wow.
Is wisdom learning someone else's wrongdoing? That can be wisdom. It can be a form. Well, I wouldn't even say that. You just aware. I mean, you have to. Um, you can learn from other people's experiences, but if you don't go through it, you only can learn from what they told you. The experience, unless you. But if you watch them go through it, then you didn't go through it, but you experienced them going through it, if that makes sense. So, I mean, it depends on how you experience someone else's experience. You can watch people go through something and you didn't experience what they went through, but you watched the process of what they went through. So that's an experience of itself. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Observing is an experience. Yeah. Observing is an experience. And then it's like a lot of these, you see, like it's not black and white, right? Because you can observe something, but do you have the right tools to observe it as far as the knowledge of a knowing, like or you just aware of what they went through? Or do you have the tools to observe in a way you can gain knowledge from what they went through? So even observation, like Gary had a live earlier. I don't know if I shared it out, but I'm gonna go share it out, just in case if I didn't. So if y'all not linked up to his page, it'll be on my wall. But he had a live talking about sharpening and honing, right? And I'm a blade guy. I got swords and knives, so And when he was having the conversation, I was just associating it to how I sharpen and hone my blades. And he was talking about the different process of sharpening and honing, associating that to like skills of life. And I was thinking like, well, once I sharpen my blade, I have to hone the blade once I sharpen it, because when you sharpen a blade, you get that sharp feeling, and that's just the process of undulling, right? When you sharpen it. But to smooth it out, you have to go through a whole nother process of honing the blade.
Hmm.
And it refines the sharpening of the blade. So it's a process. You sharpen to hone, right? And that's how when I was listening to him, I was thinking like of that. Like when I sharpen my skills, I'm usually picking up more skills in a certain category. Now, once I pick those skills up, what I do is hone those skills. I refine those skills to be more polished with them. You know, so like you see people sharpening the blades, and then there's a process of smoothing the blade, and then you polish the blade. That's the honing. Smoothing and the polishing of the blade is the honing aspect of the blade, and associating that to life. That's what we do. You know, we pick up skills, we sharpen ourselves in different categories of life, and then we refine the skills. We hone the skills. So it's like it's not like in certain concepts, it's not one or the other. It's a process of both. I do this, then I do that. Missing mod, what up though, sis? So even observing, like, is levels to that. You know, it's levels to observing. But you have to acquire the skills to observe before you can refine the skill. Like think about math. You start off adding and subtracting, or you start off counting. You got to learn the damn numbers first. But then eventually you get into fractions, and you know that's life. That's why we go through similar things, or sometimes we keep encountering the same. Um, I don't want to say the same experiences in life, but the more we encounter it, the more we equip to go through it. You know, like think about death. Like I think about when somebody died when I was a kid. I didn't know what was going on, and then when I was aware of it, that shit kind of traumatized me. Like somebody close to you dying, that can be traumatizing. But the more I experienced it, the more I understood it, and it just I developed different. Um, I just developed a whole different understanding of death. You know, it's just a natural process of life. It don't get easier, but it gets well. I'm not gonna. It got easier over time, like accepting things that can't be changed. It's a test to see if we're learned, so we can elevate. Exactly. I am so curious of Shandy's mind. Every time I meet new people, and you've been dropping a lot of sauce in the chat, I just be curious. I love uh, understanding people's epistemology, you know, and it's just the way you structure your sentences is like I know you had a wealth of knowledge. I just know that. I can just tell by the way you structure it. But yes, you definitely have to join one day. Definitely. Yeah, we you know, I believe like over here we say our motto is the better you, the better us. So we educate, motivate, we inspire, and we have fun while we doing it. I think that's a big component of life. Just having fun, enjoying it. So, we have fun, we joke around. I don't like to be like a stick in the butt, so I like to joke around and have fun. But mainly we over here talking about how to get better, how to do better, how to be better. That's a lot of the topics I talk about over here is about self improvement. So sometimes I turn people off because I'm a big component of accountability. I'm a big component of that. I think that's one of the sacred keys of life. If we use accountability, we actually utilize that, we become better people and we learn more. We learn that's the only way you go learn from your mistakes. We all gonna make mistakes. Mistakes supposed to happen. That gives us the opportunity to learn. Learn about this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, like um I never, I don't really like when it comes to like psychology. I'm kind of I don't really like a lot of the nuances, and I think people keep. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm more of like an old school thinker when it comes to psychology. I believe it's yeah. I'm just a little old school, but I haven't ran into a lot of I haven't ran into a lot of people on here, and I got a lot of like my sister. She's a psychologist. I got like 3 or 4 friends that's psychologists, so it's yeah. I don't know. It's just the I guess the way people talk about it a lot of times. Uh, I think it's like surface level. I like to get to the root. Yeah, I get turned off real quick if I hear like surface or superficial stuff. But I'm not saying that person is bad. I just haven't ran across them. But
Word is an old soul gazing a modern day script. All right, y'all.
you say, oh, I read a lot, man. I mean, and I read a lot. I don't really watch a lot or listen to a lot of people. I rather read it out of a book.
Psychologists, do psychologists display a security complex? I don't think all of them do, but some of them
Now, I
might.
think
I
that
don't know. What you think, Word?
that's on an individual basis.
Because that's something
I know some of the most intellectual people I know who probably should project a superior complex because they fucking geniuses. They don't.
Mhm.
And then I know some dumbass people who think they smart that they try to flex, and because they get a degree, they use that to flex. So I think it's just based on and that's what like psychology is so deep because there's so many variables involved. Like I said, just separating the triad itself, the Machiavellianism,
analyze it.
the narcissism, and the psychopath. Um, just separating those itself is different variables involved. And how they diagnose it that lead to the different diagnosis. So, like, I don't like grouping things, because people do the same thing for different reasons, and that's how to me it's just lazy. Like because somebody display like when we talk about DDG, most people will just oh he's a narcissist without really trying to identify the intent. So to me that's just lazy.
That's why I came on here to break it. I mean, for you to break it down a little more, because I'm like, I know I wasn't tripping about the bull. I couldn't put him in that category. I was just like, I know it's
Mm.
toxic, but I feel as though they're both to blame in this situation. Like a lot of people out here. See where I'm coming from? It's like, all right, where like for example, all right, I'm gonna use you and your wife, right? If you and your wife first started dating, right? and people was telling your wife, well, word is like this, word is like that, and she didn't take heed, right? But you noticed, even though you a player, you see where I'm coming from? You notice that your wife, right, is suffering through some type of depression or PTSD. You see where I'm coming from? She's going through something, especially it could be manipulation, but we can't dismiss the part you see reading these text messages. The reason why I say it is I see it a lot out here. What's crazy is that a lot of females do go through depression, right? And end up, how can I say, doing these type of things. And a lot of men don't understand that what they're doing is making it worse when they're sitting here. So it's kind of like, how can I explain it? Would you sit here and still, try to impregnate her, try to continue to be with her, knowing that her behavior can lead to something toxic if she don't get no type of support?
See, this is when I'm gonna sound like an asshole, right? I'm I'm gonna be an asshole. I mean,
Go
this
ahead.
is the,
I need
I
to be an
just,
asshole because I need
I
people to
think,
open. I mean, really understand. Like, this shit is crazy. I need
I
you to be an
think,
asshole.
no, I'm just saying from like the statement you made, I'm gonna sound like an asshole, and
Let it be, because
but it is what it is, Uh, but I say this, everybody responsible for themselves. At the end of the day, everybody responsible for themselves. Like I got a wife, right? She is my responsibility. I married her, so for better or worse, with sickness and health, we became one when we got married. But prior to that, her problems was her problems, mine was mine. But when we decided to get married, her problems became mine, but we became one. But I can't live life going out here kind of worried about what everybody else going through. If they seeking help, I'm a life coach by trade, right? I'm a life coach. But if people don't come to me, I can't help you. I can be like, I can say, hey, I'm a life coach. I can put it out there, but I'm not about to beg nobody to help them. That's their responsibility. You can't help nobody. You can't do nothing for nobody when they don't want nothing done. Everybody just don't be ready. I can see something wrong with somebody and be like, damn, I can help you. But if they ain't ready for the help, I can't do nothing. I
that's
just
why I said,
can't,
that's why I said it
and
goes away.
I will make myself crazy trying to help somebody who ain't ready. I dealt with addicts, right?
Facts.
So before, I lost majority of my sight, I used to help addicts. And it'd be so frustrating because I'm like, man, this dude got so much potential and he just throwing everything away, but he just wasn't ready. And I'm trying to do everything to get him ready. Can't do it, bro. It just don't work like that. I can be there, be in the vicinity. So when people need me, I can help them. But when they run away, I'm not going to look for them. I did
Period.
all that, bro. I did all that, and it didn't benefit neither one of them.
That's
That's
real
how
shit.
people become bitter and turn to a point where they say fuck everybody. Because I went there before. Like man, fuck everybody. I ain't trying to help nobody. I'm just worried about myself.
Let
You
me
get so tired. You get burnt out from that shit, man.
let me ask you a
Trying to help
question.
everybody.
Does it take maturity to walk away from an unhealthy relationship?
Yeah, it does. It does. Most people, you know why most people don't want to walk away from a relationship? Because they think they invested, they think they losing something. I done put too much time in to walk away from that. But when you mature, you realize like, look, yeah, I done put in a lot of time, but I'm gonna waste a lot of time trying to deal with this bullshit. So let me just cut my losses, learn my lesson, and move forward and just do better next time. Just do better next time. Okay,
Yeah.
this one ain't work. This person, okay, maybe this person is not mature. Maybe I'm not mature. It can be me. It was relationships. I wasn't mature. I'm just being honest. There was times
But
where women were ready to be married. I'm like, man, I'm having fun. Fuck that. I ain't trying to get married. I'm just having fun.
in order for it to work, both of y'all gotta be mature though.
Yeah, everybody, you gotta be on the same page.
hmm And I think that's where a lot of situations also fail. I've noticed that in a lot of situations, right, one is mature and the other one isn't. But is the other one really fully mature if he's still there trying to be a savior? Did I say it right? I was trying to be nice
Trying to
this time.
be.
A
Mhm.
savior. I think that's the nicest way I could put it.
Yeah, trying to. I mean, and then that falls into that altruistic shit, man.
Because I noticed that a lot in a lot of relationships. Like, I want to walk away, but I want to help. I feel as though I could help this person change and become better. I was like, then you want to be a big brother then. You see where I'm coming from, or you want to be a big sister? Like, walk away if you really want to walk away. But I'm
Like,
getting
man,
what
look,
you're saying it now. The way you broke it down, I'm seeing
like,
it a different way.
look, I got family members that I love here, and they fucked up. And I tell them like, look, man, when you ready, I'm here. That's all I can do. I'm not
Hmm.
about to be chasing them around though. I'm good. Now, when you ready, I'm here. When you ready to get shit together, let me know. I help you. No problem. I'm here for you. Call me. Shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? My friends and family get free life coaching sessions. Just talking to me and shit. Just call me, bro.
And it's crazy that
You know.
when you put your foot down and you being mature in a situation, whether you're in a relationship or as a family situation or a friend situation, right? And I've been through this in experience, right? Like, I've put my foot down in two situations, right? One of them, about. And these people, are not here today, right? And I've had people be like, "Oh, it's your fault. You shouldn't have never turned your back." I'm like, how is giving tough love turning my back on someone? And I had to be really mature because I was never expecting that from people coming at me. I'm saying, I was like, damn, I did the right thing in the world, made me feel like I did the worst thing in the world. Shit.
Yeah,
But in certain
that's the you know.
situations, my bad. But
Oh no, you good. I thought you.
no, I was saying in certain situations we have to learn how to walk away, but not walk away. What I mean is like support from a distance.
You yeah, and that's a good uh
It's hard to
that's a good
explain.
time.
It's
No,
hard to explain.
that's you hit the nail right on the head. I can support you from a distance. Because a lot of times you would hinder a person, you would keep a person in their condition by helping them because
Hmm.
now they got a security blanket. Sometimes people got to hit rock bottom. They got to hit the ground to get up. If they keep falling and you keep propping them up, they ain't gonna learn how to get up because they
Facts.
never fail. They never fail. So how the fuck they gonna learn how to get up? So you got to let people crack their shit sometimes to realize like, okay, this ain't, you know what I'm saying? Somebody like I had a cousin. Every time he got into something, I came and saved him. So he kept getting into shit. He kept talking shit to people. And one day he called me. I didn't come. He got his ass whooped. Guess what he stopped doing? Talking shit to people.
That's some bullshit. Listen, I know somebody right now, right, that is going through some mental health issues, right? And at the same time, an addiction problem, right? And this person is sitting here and they stealing and they doing all this type of shit amongst their own community, right? So they come in to this person's brother, right? And one day I snapped when I kept seeing this, and this happened not so long ago. I'm sitting here, I was like, yo, y'all don't realize that the person that y'all coming to is the wrong person. He could only do but so much. I'm saying, I was like, the person that y'all supposed to be going to is the person that keeps sugarcoating this shit. Is either the mom or the dad. What do y'all expect for other people outside the circle to do when in reality it's the ones inside of that circle? You see where I'm coming from? Like, that shit to me was crazy as hell. People started snapping. I was like, no, I'm saying the right shit. What is this person gonna do, right? When this person doesn't want the help. And in reality, the only person that's got the power to do it is the only person that is above that person, which is the mother. You see where I'm coming from? Like, to me,
hmm
shit like that be crazy, and it's happening a lot within our communities, the mental health issues and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here, it's like, if y'all don't come and tell the parent the problem that's happening with this child, it's not even a child, they're already in their 20s. You see where I'm coming from, kids and everything, but we got to take away. It's not a person like me and you. It's a person that's dealing now before they had an addiction was dealing with depression. The depression is what led to the addiction. Now this person is out here, stealing to support an addiction. What does he need? Help. But we live under a law, right? Where if they're above a certain age, they can't get the help. You can't force them to get help. You see where I'm coming from? And that's why I agree with Word. Sometimes we have to walk away. But sometimes what do you do, Word, when the problem is right there underneath your nose, like the situation I just told you? When you walk away, but it keeps coming back. You see where I'm coming from? It's crazy. Like, what type of advice would you give people like that when it comes like this, in situations like
You have to. That's when you got to have firm boundaries and create standards for yourself. because the only reason they keep coming back because you allow it. Ain't nothing gonna come back that you ain't allow. Like man, I did that show Teach People How to Treat You. I did that shit in real life, man. Everything I say is from experience. I don't I don't talk about nothing I ain't experienced. So when I be having these crazy concepts, this is like my life, man. Everything I talk about on here is my life. That's why I don't be talking about nobody else. I got so much shit to talk about.
Facts.
But
Mm-hmm.
you got to create boundaries, bro. People fuck with me a certain type of way. They know not to bring bullshit to me. So when I say keep coming back because you allow it, it's because you leave the door open. You had that door closed, that shit can't come in. Just
Mm-hmm.
flat. You gonna treat me a certain way, or you not gonna deal with it. That's
That's
just what it is. I don't feel bad for that because I deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. That's all. I don't ask for much. I'm not saying kiss my ass or none of that. I don't like that. I don't really like attention. But treat me with respect and treat me with dignity and we fine. I will treat a rich person just like I treat a bum with respect and dignity.
that's how it's supposed to
And
be
that's
done.
how I want to be treated.
Treat
Like
others
some
the way you be treated.
and Shandy, you right. Uh I was go I don't did I do that show? Man, I've been saying I was gonna do the show for 2 years. It's called Emotional Addiction. I think I touched on it. But
I'm
like
still
even
open
that
to stuff.
Stockholm syndrome. You know, like when you think people get out of one abusive relationship and get right back into another one. Emotional addiction is the real thing. Them chemicals released through these different emotions that we have, it's chemicals released.
Hmm.
That's scientifically proven. And your body will get accustomed to them chemicals just like it'll get accustomed to nicotine. And when it don't have a chemical in the system, you will put yourself in a position for those chemicals to release. That's why people keep going through all this. That's why people like that trauma bonds and shit.
That's
Like
like a withdrawal.
when the yeah, you'll have a fucking chemical withdrawal within yourself.
Oh shit, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
those chemicals, man, your body, bro. Dopamine is in your body already, man.
Mm-hmm. I
You
heard
ain't gotta
about
get
that.
high or nothing. You ain't gotta get high or nothing to release dopamine. That shit come through you. That shit get released from emotion. That cortisol, all that shit, adrenaline, all that shit get released through emotions, man.
What up, though?
I
How
used
you
to get into
doing? How
fights
you
all the
living?
time because I like you know, that fight or flight where you feel butterflies in your stomach. I was addicted to that. I used to get in fights all the time just to feel that feeling.
Hey.
I'm dead serious, man. That's
That's
why I'm
funny.
like, I didn't
Wait,
experience that.
put
Look,
that
listen, let me
concept
tell you
word.
something. I didn't experience that so much. That butterfly. And see, this is where now let me tell you where that came from. My stepdad used to whoop my ass all the time. He used to whoop my ass all the time. And I get every time he go whoop my ass, I get them butterflies. I get that adrenaline. I get that dopamine hit. I get that cortisol, and my body got addicted to
I'm
it. So
dead.
I used to like, so I started using that shit. Like I enjoy that feeling. I'm an adrenaline junkie, man. Well, I used to be, but I
Yo,
got so accustomed to that shit that I needed it. And when I didn't have it, I used to stimulate situations for it to occur, like getting to fight.
I'm dead. That's why I'm like, wait, where? Why you used it in like in the butterflies in your tummy? I've never heard that phrase other than a female use. Like, yo, this man is giving me butterflies. I used the last time I used butterflies in my stomach I was like, yo, my baby pops gave me butterflies, and I never knew that the butterflies he could, he gave me could not fucking run and walk. Everybody looked at me like, what? I was like, yeah, the butterflies you feel in your stomach. When you look at that guy that you really, really like, well, them butterflies are now walking, people. Or just use it as adrenaline. That shit is crazy.
That's that fight or flight. That's what the butterflies are. BDB, how you feeling? How you living? What up, man? BDB in the building. Y'all make sure to link up with BDB. I think his link is constantly getting dropped through Nightbot. I ain't been to a battle in a beat. I've been busy on the weekend, but if he do one this weekend, I'm gonna definitely be there. So check my brother out, man. Shout
What
out to the
Shawnee
nine,
say?
man. Shout out to the nine.
Shawnee said, preach. Just think about the first time you had good sex, left all out straight. That's for you,
When it
Rudy.
was good. Mm.
That's for you. We don't want to know about the first time where it had. You know, listen, it was probably with an old lady too.
It's been hell. Yeah, it's but you, you know, part of that is identifying. And once you identify, I mean, you can't do nothing about nothing if you ain't aware of it. So that's why I like talking about these things because um then when you know about it, you can do something about it, right? That's when you start doing something about things when you know. Sometimes we go through shit and not even aware of what we actually going through. You know, like even like people with Stockholm syndrome, they don't know what the fuck they going through. They just experiencing it. But then when they hear it, they be like, "Oh shit, that's what I'm doing. That's what this is. Okay, now I know I can do something about it. There's a way out of it.
Yeah,
You
and it's
know, I have a problem. How you gonna fix something if you don't know it's broke?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't fix something if you don't know it's broke.
22
And like I said,
rolling.
life will condition you to the point where everything is just normal. You know, you be conditioned to it. It's just a part of life. You're not even thinking about
That's crazy. But you know this the Stockholm syndrome and all that, that with the therapy on time, that can get help. But people don't even know
it.
that. They don't even
Yeah,
know that. Like that's what's I learned a lot about these things when I was young because I went to therapy. I keep telling people I was like, I've been in therapy since I was 6. The last time I went to therapy was when I was 25. And I think I recently went again when I went through the accident for a few months and I stopped going again. I don't need it because I know what to do. Each therapist says the same thing. Like you already know what steps to take when you go through something, and that's because I've been through years of it. It helps. I mean, I'm not saying it works for everybody. That's why they got coaches. You see where I'm coming from? They got counseling. They got psychologists. They got different things if a therapy is not what you want. And then you got the support system at home. So it's up to y'all how y'all deal with, how can I say your trauma? You got the choice to deal with it or not.
that ain't a choice for me. I gotta deal with it. I mean, not like I
I'm
don't
saying it like
like.
that because you know how people say, like some people, I do whatever the fuck I want. Well, then you got the choice to deal with it or not. Point blank.
That's how triggers get created by not dealing with it. You trying to put shit on the back burner or try to put it in the closet and close the door. Eventually, that bitch will pop open. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's just what I learned through shit, my 41 years of life. Just deal with the situation. Just deal with them. You know.
Facts. There's consequences to all our actions, and people don't seem to realize that shit, but they know it. That's the funny part. How you don't realize something you already have been taught?
In
Am
high
I
school,
tripping
and
about for asking that question? Like I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
and Sandy, that's what I was saying too. Like a lot of this stuff, it should be taught in school, but like for me, I'm teaching my kids like emotional intelligence. I got a mentoring program that I'm redeveloping because I got potential to take it to a bigger level. So I'm redeveloping the program to a couple people. I got some people who want to sponsor me. So I'm just trying to develop it to so they like it. But teaching kids self-esteem and self-confidence is huge for me because those things wasn't taught to me when I was young. Emotional intelligence wasn't taught to me when I was young. And if I had those tools when I was younger, I could have did a lot more with them. Um, I could have used them. I would have not put myself in certain situations. And even like when we talk about, narcissism, a lot of that stems from low self-esteem. So teaching kids self-esteem, different practices and tools that they can use to develop a higher level of self-esteem, I think is key. And it's not taught in school, but I think we can teach it at home. School, we gotta, school is to get people prepared for work. That shit don't get people prepared for life. It gets you prepared to be a productive worker so you can be productive in society. That's how I look at school. I don't think it prepares you for life. And That's just our job as parents, is to prepare our kids for life. But I grew up in the inner city too, and out here in the suburbs, like my son in kindergarten, and they had programs, well, incorporating the kindergarten, teaching them about emotional intelligence. That shit was crazy. I was like, oh, this is dope. I was like, this is kind of fly. In kindergarten, they teaching that. Well, preschool, I'm sorry. You're going to kindergarten next year. But in preschool, they was teaching them about emotional intelligence. So just being aware of emotions. I'm not going to say it was teaching them emotional intelligence. I just never seen that or experienced that in school. I didn't learn about emotions or anything about emotions until I got to college. Taking psychology courses. That's when I started really understanding how impactful emotions was in the process of creating behavior through emotion. And once I understood that, I understood how manipulation occurred. And
It's
just even the process of how we intake information and project it back out. We think the feel, and that feeling creates a behavior. That behavior dictates the action. So our thoughts influence our feelings influence behavior, behavior influences action. I always take it from the feeling part because the process that I believe is missing is thinking again, is refiltering, is filtering those emotions with our consciousness, with our thoughts. I don't think people do that because if the emotion creates the behavior, the way to be intentional on the behavior is to refilter the behavior or the emotions through a thought process. Is this beneficial or is it not? And if we begin to do that, if we feel to think and allow the action to come after we think, then now we again take power of our action. That's because if you think to feel, then whatever that thought is and how that thought even occurred will dictate the behavior. I don't know if any of that shit just made sense, but yeah, no, I'll be talking. I'm about to take my ass to sleep though.
dead. You know what's crazy? When you was going to elementary school, it was different when I was going to elementary school. And when I was going to elementary school, going into middle school, right? That was what in the I'm gonna say the late '90s, going into the early 2000s, right? And we did have programs. We even, within our schools, especially in middle school. Like in middle school, they had sewing classes. They had counseling. They had a whole bunch of stuff. Like they even had the Big Brother program very active here in Philadelphia. That's why I'm like, and Philly was a little different from other places, but we still had them things which got taken out with I think around what 2000 and around 2014, 2015, they started taking these programs out. So we did have a lot of, like, for my generation growing up, and I keep forgetting that you're like 8 years older than me.
And
So
then
like my
like
generation
even
had programs like it's like that's why I was like the well I was like it's a little different. Like I don't know like why in the 80s they didn't have the things that we had in the 90s, but then again now in the late 2000s, these kids don't have what we had in the 90s. You see where I'm coming from, which is crazy.
it's a lot of the like like when I think it was probably like my era when they start taking like Votech out of school and top and home ec. I had all that.
We had them too. That's what I'm saying. Like we had all that. It's like like we had a lot. Like, and then when you look at it, when you're in elementary school, when we was going to elementary school, we had teachers that would sit here and have the conversation about emotions. Crazy as shit. Yeah, they did that at least 20, 30 minutes out of the day in a class. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I remember things a little different coming up, growing up, right? And like I tell people, my community was a little different. So, and I didn't start seeing things
Well,
different until
did your
I
teachers
left my
live?
community.
Did you have teachers that stayed in your community?
Growing up, yeah. Now that I'm older, no, it's different.
You
Like
see
the
what I'm
teachers
saying?
that our kids have now, the teachers that our kids, that the ones that we're raising from my generation, the teachers from the teachers that are teaching now, yeah, you make
See,
sense. A lot of these
you,
teachers are from like New York, New Jersey,
you,
Reading. I'm
you,
sitting here like, damn, how y'all make it from Reading over here? Y'all driving a few
but
hours, but you're
see,
right.
this is what happened too, like to the whole community aspect too. Like we had teachers that lived in the community. We had cops, doctors. Well, I ain't gonna say doctors, but nurses, like cops, firemen, all these people. So they had an investment into the community. So when you got a teacher that lives in your community, they want the best out of that community. So they put in a little bit more work. But
Mhm.
nowadays, you got people who have no type of connection to the people that they healing, feeding, educate. They have no connection to them, so they had no investment. There's nothing. They're not really getting nothing out of it but a paycheck. So they just do their job and go home. They don't care about what happens in that community. Okay, they in and out.
That's a
They're
fact.
just in and out, and that's a problem to me. I mean, you want to fix it? That's how you fix it.
That's some real shit.
That's like in the late 2000s, they were giving incentives to cops in Detroit who moved back to the city. Because I think it was like 70% of the people on the force didn't live in the city.
Oh snap!
That's a high ass percentage of people working or patrolling, protecting and serving the community that they have no investment in.
Yeah, and that's happening
So
a
they don't
lot.
really care. They don't really care what happened in this community because they're going home. After their shift is done, they're going home. People who working in a hospital, they don't care. They ain't got to see these people no more. Once they badge out and go home, they home. They ain't about to. I mean, when I was growing up, the nurse that took care of me when I broke my arm, he lived across the street. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying? So he
that's
looked out there. You stop playing on that tree. That's how you broke your arm the first time. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, that you had that. The teacher stayed 2 blocks down. So as I'm walking home, yeah, I'm gonna talk to your mama. I see you. You know what I'm saying? We
that's
had
how it
all that.
used to be. Yeah, that's how it used to be. But now you can't even do that because you can't even trust your neighbor. For real, it's
No,
like you
I
can't.
was just trying to
Like
talk to my new neighbor today, and I'm like, I'm not even personable like that. I'm trying to talk to my new neighbor. They Indians. He looking at me like I'm speaking a foreign language. Like, "Bro, I just heard you talking English. You know what the hell I'm saying?" But I'm like, all
that's
right, man, have a good day. But oh, your kids want to come over here and play in my backyard, but you can't even say hi. Hell no. Your wife was just, hey, can my kid, yeah, let you come back here. The wife cool too. Chill back there. You know. Oh, my husband an engineer. That's cool. That's what's up. But then you said I talk to the husband. He looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, all right, bro.
yeah. Some people be like that. They be weird as shit.
I was about to say your wife was talking to me, but I'm like, I ain't gonna be crazy. Had your wife in my backyard. I'm just fine.
Oh, you gonna have your wife starting some shit with his wife. Like you trying to get at him, not realizing you just started a whole war between females, not knowing that shit. Like, wait, hold up, wait, going listen. Wifey ain't gonna stand up for that shit. Hold up, she listen. If she my side, she gonna think she fucking Goliath. She gonna
Oh
think she
no, she was
that.
back there too. Man, ain't nobody coming around me without my wife there. Man, yeah, right. I ain't about to get choke slammed.
Sure, I had to make the joke. Don't ruin it. All right.
Wake up with hot grits on my chest or something. I'm straight. I'm good.
Shit, he
Man,
gonna
my
wake up
wife,
with everything to
man,
the left.
you know what nippers are, right?
No, no,
Okay, so
explain.
I didn't know what nippers was. Nippers are them little things that they cut hangnails with, them little
Clippers,
sharp things. Nippers.
nippers, nail clippers. I
Yeah,
know what, but not nippers.
yeah, they call them nippers. My wife do nails and stuff. So when we first got together, she was like, "You ever cheat on me? I'm gonna cut your junk off with some nippers." I'm like, "What the hell is nippers?" And when I seen it, I'm looking like, "You are diabolical. Like, I ain't fucking with you. I don't worry about that." I'm traumatized. You ain't got to worry about that. 'Cause
They're
that'd
called
take a lot of
nippers, not
cutting.
nail clippers. All right, still with nippers.
No, it's not. No, they is a form of nail clipper, but it's specifically to cut hangnails. That's why they designed. Okay.
Oh, I know which ones they are. Them Jones. Oh, okay. They don't. They're not just used for that, but I learned that by when I started designing clothes. The same tools they use in
Yeah,
the
hold on,
dentist
here we go. I'm gonna
office
show you.
and the foot
I'm looking like,
doctors.
man, if you trying to cut me, man. Like,
I know what she talking about. Them Jones look like little scissors.
yeah, man. They hold
That's
on,
why I
man.
said
Why
I know
they,
exactly what you're talking about because listen, like I said, when I started designing clothes, I had to use the same tools you use in the dentist office and in the foot doctors. I was cracking up.
look, man, look, this is what she said she was gonna cut my junk off with. Like, nah, I ain't messing with you. You crazy.
Yo, I know exactly
You know how
what
much
you're
cutting
talking
you
about.
have to do? Hold on, where is it at?
You look at them Jones, I'm cracking up.
Why they ain't showing?
Them Jones is sharp.
Yeah,
Oh no,
man.
then he got the ones for the for the contractors and shit. Look at that construction work.
No, these the ones that she got. These are nippers, man.
Oh shit.
See, they cut off the hangnails, man.
Them Jones can cut wires too.
That's what they look like, baby wire cutters. Like this picture is blown
Oh,
up
but they
an
literally work though.
exaggeration. Yeah.
You got the comment in the way. That's why
Oh, hold on, let me see. Oh,
we're
no,
still
that
learning
none
how
of
to use
those.
StreamYard. All right. So let's give the not dinosaurs. My bad. Dragons. The dragons. Some time. They'll figure out these StreamYard apps. Us youngins don't know how to use it. So shit.
Shit, man, look, I don't mess with my wife. She crazy, man. I ain't messing with her. Mm-mm. I ain't gonna lie. I talk shit to her all day. That's my best friend, man.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's why I laugh at people when they say, like, a lot of females, they be like, how can you trust
And it
him?
was
How
like,
can
not
you do
no.
this, yo? Like,
Like,
man, if I don't
mhm,
trust him, why am I with him? Some of
mhm.
these females don't even know what the hell they got at home.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I don't see. Have a good night, Commander.
And it's funny how a lot of females bring back the people's past. I was like, if I was worried about this man's past, man, I wouldn't be with this man. Like his past is his past. I don't give a fuck about that shit.
That's what I told my wife. I was like, she kept saying, "You're a good guy. You're a good guy." I said, "Shit, no, I am, but shit, I'm living out my karma. That's why I'm not upset at nothing I go through. I don't get down. Like this me living out my karma." She was like, "You don't deserve to be here." Like, man, I get everything I deserve, man. I ain't complaining about it. I just learned from it.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
But shit, I know I'm a good guy. I do it intentionally. I be good on purpose.
So,
I intentionally, go out to be a good person and do that shit with intent. Well, let me get my butt off here. I'm taking my family shopping
Good.
tomorrow.
Don't say it like that again.
Shopping.
I can't with him, yo. All right, let me get off this, John. Hasta luego. See y'all tomorrow or next time, whenever he go live. I know I'm gonna live later on, but not now.
Yeah. I'm a therapy geek, so this subject, man, was very enjoyable. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I got a couple other. I want to get back into. I don't know if you noticed, Shannon, but the word, the etymology behind psychology. If you look it up in like the etymology dictionary, it'll tell you when the word psychology was created, it was meant as the study of the soul, and later on, it evolved into the study of our consciousness. So, um, yeah, I talk about. I use metaphysics, psychology, philosophy, whatever tool I need to use to convey a message. I use it all. So yeah, we'd be getting to a lot of deep intellectual conversation. And then we'd just be on here just having fun, just having normal conversation. So yeah, please come through. We appreciate you. You dropping a lot of sauce in the chat. You're always welcome. Even if the link ain't dropped, just say, hey, drop the link and I'll drop it for you. Sometimes I forget. I'm poor little tink tink. Don't blame it on my eyes. Blame it on the straw in my head. But y'all know what I always say. Care about how you feel. These are conversations that build nations. And if I say anything that resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that share button. Tell somebody, help me spread the word. But until next time, we out. So I can hit the button. We out. Hold on. Here we go. Nope.
And do it for the 9.
What up, 9?
Acknowledge me!
They've been telling y'all love, and I came to tell y'all right. The way you feel influences the way you think, and the way you think dictates the actions you take.
You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me.
When I move, is it a quick rumble? I will never ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.